Yo, what up guys? Coach Lou here. So one of the things that I like doing for people is if they ask me questions, especially on social media, I just like to present it to everybody so everybody can learn a little bit. The topic for today is just training in essence, right? So if you watch the previous videos, some of them are on nutrition, some of them are on mindset a little bit. One of the things I want to cover and tell you guys that if you do not have your nutrition in order and you are specifically trying to be a fat loss client, you'll get some results, but are they the best results you could possibly get? Probably not. So with that, with training, right? The person who wants to be left unanimous, and I'm like, nobody really cares, right? I think, had asked me in regards to like fitness, adults, and then in regards to athletes. If I had, it's a slightly interesting question to me, I think, because it made me think, what would be my top 3 exercises for fitness, top 3 exercises for athletes? And then in regards to strength alone, right? And it got me to think because there's so many variables that like really make me, there's so many things, different type of people, different needs, different wants. And us as coaches, that's what we really have to take into account, right? So just thinking about it off the top of my head, for adults, it would most likely, I'm trying to think best bang per buck. I would most likely have it, and I'm gonna explain in a second, full Turkish get up, trap bar dead, and then a push-up or a dip, right? And the reason I say this, and just for strength, I'm not talking anything about conditioning. I like the fact that full Turkish get ups when you teach somebody in the steps, if you teach the quarter, half, and full, whatever, but I like what it does with the hips for people. And I like that it clears up a lot of issues with the hips, and especially being loaded, especially when you have to learn to swing that leg underneath you and keep adequate position throughout your shoulder girdle, and all the way through. So I know that I've used with people, just do 5 minutes of get-ups for just a warm-up. And they're like, holy crap, I feel amazing right now. Yeah, this is what this stuff does, right? So trap bar deads being second, the reason I said trap bar is because, especially if you have the bar that has the lower side and higher side, taller people is very easy to flip that thing over. Shorter people, obviously, could go on the regular side. But not everybody can conventional dead or sumo dead, nor should they, right? But I've had more than enough people I could teach how to do a trap bar dead or even double kettlebell dead, and they could do it pretty perfectly, pretty quickly. And that's the other thing, right? Some exercises take a bit of a learning curve, and sometimes we coaches, we don't have that, not inherently that I can't teach you that over time, but I need to get results right now. So I need to teach you things that are pretty fast, and we need to get moving, right? And then the last thing is just a push-up or dip, because it could be, it's such a basic movement that is so hacked up sometimes. Not everybody should do dips, but I think dips is equivalent of squatting for the upper body, meaning multiple joints moving. And if you've ever seen lots of gymnasts or anybody who does a ton of dips, pec development, I think the pecs are worked obviously in that different pattern. But I know once you develop the motion down, it's a very strong variation of a upper body pushing, right? Now, that's just for, on the strength side, just for adults. And that's actually something we do a lot here at TSA. Now, secondly, on the athletic side, this really threw me for a variable, because now we're talking about, dude, you're talking about different demands for different athletes, and now different sports, field sport, court, you know, obviously a swimmer, golfing, cross country, totally different demands, right? But if I had a basic template on what I want to teach, let's just say my younger athlete, my middle school kid, for sure, I'm going to get them, I have to get them good at chin-ups. And the reason that might catch you off guard, chin-ups is that test for me that I could honestly tell how fast you are, which makes 0 sense, right? Well, chin-up is a test that lets me see what's called your relative strength, your strength compared to your body weight. So one of the key indicators of how quick or explosive or fast you are is how strong you are compared to your body weight. What's a better test than pulling your dead weight off the ground, right? So anybody who can do 10, 12, 15 strict chin-ups, I guarantee you is pretty quick, pretty explosive, and can move pretty fast, right? And you would never link those two together, but that's just experience. More than likely, obviously, a front squat. I purposely love the front squat for athletes because of the front rack position. If you can't hack that, you can't fake that. If they don't have the adequate mobility, flexibility to get here, you could compromise a back squat, to be honest, to be rounded and kind of look like crap, and you can still squat, right? But a front squat, if you don't have that piece in the wrist and the dexterity there, you're going to dump the bar forward. So you have to work on inherently it makes you work on these things. Now, if I had an individual who I know shouldn't get there for a shoulder injury, or maybe they don't have the thoracic extension in the middle of your back, and maybe they shouldn't because they have an injury there. Number one, I'd question if I'm actually loading the spine versus not, whatever. But I'd probably just a reverse lunge, to be honest, because I like the dynamic movement of the hips, and I like that they have to bring it back. And that's a lot of sport, is moving under load at times, right? And moving multiple directions at times. And one of the last things, again, it would be a dip as far as for an athlete also, because and granted, I did not mention bicep curls, I did not mention bench press, I did not mention any of that. I think those are overrated. They're useful movements, but they're overrated in regards to both the fitness side or the athlete side, or bang per buck on what you actually get out of them, right? So, again, I say my adult Turkish get-ups. If you guys don't know, I'm actually going to make a video on it sometime in the next couple of days on how to break it down into steps. And I think it's an awesome movement that everybody should learn how to do. Trap bar deads. If you guys aren't trap bar deadlifting, it doesn't even count if you work out, to be honest. You know what I mean? If you're not deadlifting, it doesn't count, right? Push-ups and dips. And obviously it depends on the person's capability there. And then with the athlete side, chin-ups, that's my indicator for speed. You know, you guys learning my tips. Front squat or reverse lunge. That's what I like from our athletes. And then dips also, right? And it's argumentative. It's just stuff that I think over time I've learned and picked up on. But this is Coach Lou. If you guys have any questions for me, just send them in the DM like people have before, and I'll be happy to answer them. Until later, guys.